Like, sub, share, speak. The video I did just before this one was rather fortuitous because here we are with Jemele Hill making headlines again. And I gotta say, I do not like this woman at all, not by any stretch. We have this coming to us from the Daily Mail. Ex ESPN host Jemele Hill slammed as pro segregationist for urging African American athletes to attend historically black colleges rather than enriching mostly white schools. And is written by Daily Mail reporter. Okay, no one wanted to put their name to this, so I see. Here's the point. Now, this is a Daily Mail article. So, most of the meat and potatoes are going to be in these points, and there's going to be a lot of redundancy in the later portions of this video. I'm going to try to skip over those, and it's rather annoying. Jemele Hill is being slammed for urging African Americans to pick. Okay, in her first magazine piece for The Atlantic, the former ESPN host contends that black athletes are helping the fortunes of major universities while HBCUs suffer. HBCUs emerged to provide black students with a college education amid rampant segregation. The schools do not discriminate against white students. Hill argues that predominantly white schools' multi-billion-dollar revenues have been built largely on the exertions of uncompensated black athletes. If black athletes spurned white schools, Hill says it would help HBCUs financially. Hill's critics called her a racist and even suggested she was pro-segregationist. Hill has been known as a vociferous critic of President Trump and was suspended during her tenure at ESPN for tweets deemed overly political. No, she was suspended for tweets that were calling out advertisers on ESPN, which that was ridiculous. So let's okay, so in her first magazine piece for The Atlantic, Hill contends that black athletes are helping the fortunes of universities like Michigan, Alabama, and Miami, while HBCUs have struggled to compete financially, both in the athletic department and in the terms of overall endowment. I gotta ask a question: what the hell does that have to do with the college prospect? The college prospect, that person is supposed to make the choice that's best for them in their future. And whereas it'd be nice if HBCUs were as prevalent as the historically white universities, the deal is that they're not, and their mismanagement, their and it's really on the HBCU to make it to make the most of what they have with the resources and funding that they get, as opposed to relying on these college athletes, because guess what, it's such a small percentage of the overall college population that it really won't go but so far. HBCUs were established before the Civil Rights Act of 1964 in order to provide African Americans a college education during an age of rampant segregation. There are more. Why can't I talk today? There are more than 100 such institutions, most of which were founded in the aftermath of the Civil War. HBCUs do not discriminate against non-black students. I went to an HBCU. I went to Norfolk State in Virginia back in 2000, and yeah, there were white kids, and it wasn't, how do I put it, it was a great party school. Like, I had a lot of fun at the parties, but as far as like the education goes, I personally wasn't ready for college at the time, and I was there simply because everyone said that was the next step, and so I left after a semester because it's a very expensive thing, and I felt terrible wasting me and my parents' money going to school when I didn't even really know what I wanted to do with my life at the time. So yeah, you kind of get pushed into these places, and we've been doing this since the Cosby Show in a different world. We've been telling all these people to go to college and get all this and get all the education that you can get, when in all reality, college isn't for everybody, and there's more people, and there's like more money to be made in trades, in vocations, as opposed to just going straight to college, which, you need all these credits for this class, you need this credits for this class, and it's like, bruh, it's more of a Ponzi scheme than anything else. Black athletes have attracted money and attention to predominantly white universities that showcase them, Hill wrote. Meanwhile, black colleges are struggling. Alabama's athletic department generated $174 million in the 2016-17 school year, whereas the HBCU that generated the most money from athletics that year, Prairie View A&M, brought in less than $18 million. How is that the athlete's problem? Once again, how, like, you know what I don't like? I don't like dictators. I don't like dictatorship. If that young man wants to go to, Florida A&M, he wants to go to the University of Miami, he wants to go to, Tallahassee, whatever school he wants to go to is his choice. And, like, honestly, like, make a baby, Jemele Hill. Make a baby, raise him to be an athlete, and then you ship his ass off to a HBCU. But don't sit here and, like, try to dictate to, black men, of which you call the white people of well, she didn't call it, but she co-signed this really dumb article. Black men are the white people of black people. Bro, why would anybody listen to your ass? Seriously. This is her being proud of it. Jemele Hill contends that black athletes are helping, beyond sports. The average HBCU endowment is only 1/8 that of the average predominantly white school. Taken together, all of the HBCU endowments combined make up less than 1/10 of Harvard's. She also notes that the predominantly white schools' collective multi-billion-dollar revenues have been, oh, they built off their back. Well, what about you? Were you was Jemele Hill ever a college athlete? Was she ever ever an athlete of any type? I'm really curious because she has all these opinions about what other people need to be doing and what's up with her. As Hill explained, the NCAA grossed $1.1 billion in 2017, most of which was generated from the Division I men's basketball tournament. The organization extended its media deal in 2016 for an additional $8.8 billion, and there are around 30 Division I schools that make at least $100 million annually in athletics alone. The problem, Hill argues, is that black men only make up 2.4% of the total undergraduate population in the 65 schools that populate the top 5 athletic conferences: Big Ten, ACC, SEC, Pac-12, Big 12. The flight of black athletes to majority white colleges has been devastating to HBCUs, she wrote, adding, what if a group of elite athletes collectively made the choice to attend HBCUs? Well, guess what? You have absolutely nothing to say on that because you are not them. Like, this is ridiculous. Like, you going to sit there, and I'm telling you, oh my goodness. Like, the HBCU, right? It's nice in it's nice in thought, in theory, but as far as what kind of exposure they'll be able to get, where they'll be able to get recruiters from, I mean, even like the college that the athlete gets recruited, being recruited by Alabamas and the Michigans and all these other big schools is a big deal. It raises their profile like stupendously, and playing for them and doing well and winning national championships. These are things that these people are considering because like 85% of them are trying to make the next step to the pro level. And unfortunately, HBCUs don't have the world's greatest track record in producing pro athletes. I mean, there's so much more to this, but she's just like, well, if we get those athletes into those schools, guess what? They'll probably still fail because the schools don't have the coaching staffs. The schools don't have the same resources that those schools have. Right or wrong? While Hill's argument was embraced by some, others criticized her remarks as being racist and even pro-segregationist. Jemele Hill coming out as pro-segregation is probably the least surprising thing I've seen this week, wrote one Twitter user. Conservative Caleb Howell wrote, nothing to see here, just Jemele Hill advocating for segregation. This is literally racist. Hill left ESPN to join The Atlantic in 2018. Hill was let go from ESPN and landed at The Atlantic in 2018. The Michigan State graduate was famously suspended at ESPN for calling President Trump a bigot. Later, when Dallas Cowboys owner Jerry Jones reportedly threatened to bench any player he saw kneeling in protest during the national anthem, Hill encouraged fans to boycott the team. Because she truly is the black savior. She's definitely not the white people of black people. So yeah, all right. I really don't want to leave it on her because she is not a very attractive woman. No, she's not a 35 percenter. Then you hear the nonsense that come out of her mouth. She's like a negative 28 percenter. Here's the deal. As a man, as men, we love women. We want to be able to take women seriously. You know, like I'm not joking about that. I would love to be able to take women seriously, and like if she has a concern, go address it and actually solve the problem, which is like it's encoded in our DNA. This is the way we are built. The problem is that far too often when the ladies are like, "Oh my goodness, we have this problem," men are like, "Yeah, okay. So what do you want to do? Like how can we help? Well, like what's the issue? What's the problem?" And then they bring up something completely irrelevant, something completely ubiquitous that doesn't like matter like in the grand scheme of things, or in a lot of cases, what they're missing. And I don't mean to be vulgar, but they are missing that scent stick that I talk about. If you're familiar with my content, you know what a scent stick is. So without that scent stick, they're just sitting here spewing nonsense. And whereas, yeah, apparently she's engaged and getting married and all this other stuff. Who knows if she catching a scent stick? Because honestly, I don't know how many scent sticks could actually get in a position to actually do anything for you. You know. So yeah, HBCUs need to figure it out for themselves and really like how do I put it? Like if I were like head of the HBCUs, I would be doing all that I can to like showcase our athletes and try to get them to the next level, because that's really what matters to these athletes, is trying to go pro and trying to and getting a quality education in about 15% of their cases. So when it comes to HBCUs, and I'm not trying to sit here and say that the quality of education that you get. Here's what the thing: when it comes to education, it always falls down on the person that's being educated. If you have the capacity and the ability and the want to, get a good education, you can get a good education on your own, just learning shit on the internet. Make no mistake. So I think that it's a bit of a wash there. But when it comes to what most athletes, particularly high school and college athletes, are trying to obtain, which is pro status, I'm sorry, but HBCUs are not the easy. Are like it's much easier to go through the big schools as opposed to the HBCUs, and thusly this entire article is dumb and makes no sense, and it is rather racist and pro segregation. These like the thing is that one of the things that irritates me a lot is that people talk about how oh, people died for your right to vote. Like as a black guy, you hear it your entire life. Oh, they died so you had a right to vote. No, they died so I'd have the right to choose. Plain and simple. If you're not putting a candidate out there that's worth the shit, then I'm not going to vote for them. And thusly, like people died for these athletes to get the right to choose. If they choose to go to HBCU, congratulations to them. But if they don't, then guess what? That's congratulations to them too. Because that's not what matters. What matters is what they're trying to accomplish and them putting themselves in the best position to accomplish it. Jemele Hill, you full of shit. With that being said, we're gonna bring this video to an end. All the internet stuff. If you liked it, toss a like. Dislike, go ahead, do that too. I'm not scared of you. Sub if you enjoy my fantastic voice and want to get videos like this every single day. Share, because sharing is caring. And YouTube, BitChute, nah, you don't like me like that. They're like, this is a black guy with a brain. We don't fucks with that. Speak. Let me know. What do you think in the comments? Do you think that there's a difference between a HBCU or a historically predominantly Caucasian school? I mean, where's the HMCUs? Where's the historically Mexican colleges and universities? like seriously, like where's the HICUs, the historically Italian colleges and universities? Do you get where I'm coming from with this? Right? I mean, like, sweetheart, this is ridiculous, man. It really is. But I would love to know what you think in the comments. And until the next one.